Hey guys, Eclipse14 here, and welcome to my PlayStation 2 collection. Not a whole lot has changed with this collection since I last updated it, considering I haven't picked up a PlayStation 2 to try to play through the games yet and get anything new. So it retains its value at 32 games total, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump into things, because PS1 took forever, and I don't want to take as long with this one. Game number 1 is Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. I've completed this game twice, and actually, I don't mind it too much. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't mind it. My only real complaint is that the game is kind of short. And that's really all I got to say about it, unfortunately. I do find it to be a decent game, but it's hit or miss depending on what you like. Game number 2 is Final Fantasy X. Yeah, my copy's got a rip on the bottom right, but what can be done? Complete setup whatsoever, completed this game more than once, and overall have a lot of fun with this game entirely. I also should note that I own the strategy guide for this game, which is in decent shape. Unfortunately, the poster's been taken out, which kind of sucks because I could use that for Riku's mixtures, and generally I have a lot of trouble trying to figure that stuff out. So that's unfortunate, but regardless, I still have beaten the game, and that's what matters in the end. Game number 3 is Final Fantasy X-2. My copy appears to be water damaged because there's a lot of waving on both sides, and it definitely doesn't look too impressive. The manual and disc actually look pretty decent, but I've never finished the game. I only put in about a couple hours, and that was about it. So, I should also note that I do own the strategy guide for this one as well, which also is likely a little water damaged because the front couple pages are definitely not looking too good. Regardless, I do have a complete set, and hopefully I will be able to try to finish this game someday, and I'll have that guide to help me out. Game number 4 is Final Fantasy XII and its Collector's Edition Steelbook case, and this Steelbook is, oh boy, definitely rusting. Oh, this sucks. At least the insides look fine. There's the manual right there, which is in good shape, and both discs are pretty good as well, although I kind of avoid trying to take them out because I've had trouble with that in the past. I also own a strategy guide for this, which is nice and fat. Oh my lord, that's a lot of pages. Overall, it looks pretty decent, but yeah, without a doubt the thickest guide I own. And unfortunately, I never really finished the game. I got well over halfway through, and then I screwed up by saving in a spot where you can't get out. So, oops. Hopefully I will return to this game someday and try to finish it, because that's definitely pretty high on my list. Game number 5 is Kingdom Hearts. There is no game in my entire collection I have beat more times than this game. It's a game I enjoy every once in a while, and actually ran through a disc, so I had to get a replacement, and that's how this complete copy came to be. So, yeah, this is one I definitely have a lot of fun with, and would play for the channel just to do it, because, again, it is a game I've beaten multiple times over, including my most recent case being a 100% complete on Expert, and I would definitely give myself a shot to play it for the channel someday. Game number 6 is Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. This one I've also had a bit of fun, although I've had more difficulty with this game than the other games on the PlayStation 2. I've completed this one at least twice, both sides of the story, so Sora and Riku, and overall, it's pretty decent. Again, definitely have harder difficulty with this game than I do some of the others, primarily because of the whole card setup being the main theme of the game, so it does have its challenges. Game number 7 is Kingdom Hearts 2. Once again, a game I have completed at least twice, and this one I didn't mind too much, to be honest. Definitely got through it with relative ease, and I had my fun with it. And that's really all I got to say about it, really. Not much else beyond that. Game number 8 is Samurai Legend Musashi. This one somehow didn't click, because I liked Brave Prince of Musashi, it's one of my personal favorites on the PlayStation, but somehow this one just didn't connect. I only put it in for about half an hour and just kind of stopped playing it. So, yeah, it just feels kind of weird that that's the case, and I'm probably going to try to replay it sometime later on, just to see if I can get any kind of spark going. Game number 9 is Grandia 2. This is a game I haven't even touched, so I know nothing of the game whatsoever apart from what I've heard of it. And what I've heard of it is actually coming from the Dreamcast, which sounds like it's a decent game on that end. The main reason I got the PS2 version is primarily because the other two Grandia games are on Sony platforms as well, so let's just put it together and put it in the same line. That's really my only thought process with the game. And speaking of another Grandia game, game number 10 is Grandia 3. This game I have actually completed and is also my only 2-disc PlayStation 2 game, with disc 1 right there and disc 2 right there. I find it kind of weird that how you get into the second disc absolutely demands a save, because otherwise you can't get in whatsoever, so I find that kind of weird. But regardless, I did enjoy my time with this game, and it actually motivated me to try to do the other 2 Grandia games, and I'll get to them when I'm able to. Game number 11 is R-Type Final, the last game in the series, and I don't remember too much of it because I played it for a little while, and I don't remember much of it at all because it had been quite a few years since I even considered putting it in the PS2 when I had it working. Other than that, it has a lot of customization, which I thought was pretty cool, but other than that, not too much to comment, unfortunately. Game number 12 is Dark Cloud. I'm more familiar with Dark Cloud 2 over the first game. This one I didn't really give much of a chance, unfortunately. I had some trouble with Dark Cloud 2. I figured I'd have more trouble with the first game, and sure enough, I was definitely having that kind of trouble. So I didn't put a huge amount of time in this one, although I probably will try to play it again someday. Game number 13 is Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, which is the last game in the Breath of Fire series apart from the defunct 6, which I did play. Complete set right here. I never actually finished this game, although, in order to help me when I actually give the chance later on, is the official Brady Game Strategy Guide. Pretty neat looking one at that. Read through it a little bit just to see how things will go. And, yeah, I think I'm gonna have a little bit of a hard time, but I think I'll be able to put through it, when I give the whole game a shot, because it's the last Breath of Fire game I have to complete, and I will definitely have that in mind over the course of this year. Game number 14 is Mega Man X8. This one I also didn't play too much. I'm actually familiar with it through the demo that was on Mega Man X Command Mission on PS2. This game was, I'm kind of surprised, because at one point in time it was about $45 to $50, and then all of a sudden it kind of nosedived in price to maybe even $20 at this point. Really, really strange that ended up becoming the case, but that's how it is, and I'm sitting on a game that actually dropped in value, which is a rare circumstance. Game number 15 is Odin Sphere. Oh boy, this game was tough, but I'll always remember this game because it's currently the last PlayStation 2 game I played and completed. Because as I was trying to finish the game, my PS2 was dying down, I was losing music over time. The disc's actually in good shape, it was just the console was finally on its death knell, and when I finally beat the game and changed the disc out, my PS2 finally stopped working, and I haven't had a playable PS2 since then. So it's definitely a must-have to try to get a new PS2 sometime this year. Game number 16 is Gradius 3 and 4. This game is actually kind of rare because I've only seen one other copy in the wild since I bought this copy, and it was my first instance of seeing a compact disc PlayStation 2 game which has the blue outside instead of the usual DVD style, as you can see right there. Pretty neat stuff indeed. As for the game itself, I have completed both Gradius 3 and 4. They were definitely pretty difficult. I was not expecting what was expecting of Gradius 3 because I was used to the Super Nintendo version. But regardless, they are very good arcade ports and would definitely recommend them if you're looking for a challenging shoot 'em up. Game number 17 is Sylphid the Lost Planet, which is one of the last working design games ever released. As you can see, there's actually the top flap there, which is the only instance of a PS2 game that I have such a case. Disc and manual are in pretty cool shape. Once again, it's a compact disc case, and it's just, I mainly bought it for the foil style, because I was just not used to it, and it is a decent shoot 'em up that I have completed, so there's that to mention, and not much else. Game number 18 is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. Not too much to comment on this one, since I only put it in for about 10 minutes to make sure it worked. It's a complete copy, although somebody wrote on 2 on the manual on this one, which is really strange. Don't know why the dude did it, but whatever. Complete copies of this are a little pricey, around 40 to 45 bucks, and it used to be pretty significant a couple months ago, but it has died down a little bit to something a little more reasonable, but other than that, it's still a pretty tough game to find. Game number 19 is Growlancer Generations, which was the final working designs game ever released. I know there's a deluxe edition of this game which has a crapload of stuff, but I've never seen a copy of the actual deluxe edition, so I'm sticking with this for now. There's Growlancer 2 right there, which composes Disc 1, and Growlancer 3 composes Disc 2. I only played both discs for a few minutes to make sure they worked, and never really did much with them otherwise. It was mostly just a placeholder, but regardless of that, from what I've seen of it, it looks pretty decent, and I may give it a shot someday. Game number 20 is Dot Hack Infection. This is a game I tried to complete, got a good chunk through, and just kind of got stuck and stopped. So that kind of stinks. There's the anime disc right there, and there's the game disc right there. It's the easiest Dot Hack game to find, and I definitely enjoyed it. I just got stuck somewhere, and hopefully when I get a working PS2, I can hopefully try to finish the game, because I've been wanting to do that for a while. Game number 21 is Dot Hack Mutation. This one I only played for a couple minutes and that was it because I was hoping to finish Infection before I went to Mutation. Kind of like I should have. There's the anime disc, there's the game disc, and the manual as well. Not too much to comment on otherwise, other than a complete copy being about $40 right now, so it definitely has a little bit of value to it. Game number 22 is Dot Hack Outbreak. Likewise with Mutation, only played it for a couple minutes to make sure it worked, and that was about it. There's the anime disc, there's the game disc and the manual, and that's really it. Complete copies here are about 60 to 65, and yeah, pretty happy I got it before it got a little expensive. Although, I've only seen a single copy of Part 4 and multiple copies of the other parts, and a complete copy of Quarantine is $300, which is pretty insane, but hopefully I'll be able to find that, because it would be nice to have the entire quartet with me and be able to finish the entire story. Game number 23 is Kingsfield the Ancient City, which is a game I only put in for like half an hour just to try out, and as usual, I really suck at first-person RPGs, so I didn't really get too far with this one. A complete copy of this game is now over $100 now, so that is a little ridiculous, and this actually came at I bought it at a time when it was about 40 to 45 complete, so it's definitely risen up in price, and I'm glad to have picked it up before it got too bad. Game number 24 is Wizardry Tale of the Forsaken Land. This is my personal favorite early PlayStation 2 game because it just felt so surreal and it really played pretty well, and I was deeply involved with the story, so this was actually a pretty cool one. It's another blue discer again. Of course, got the manual, and the game is actually kind of a rarity. Even though it's not exactly worth a hell of a lot, about $50 complete, it's still not an easy find. So if you can find this game, I recommend checking it out because I really enjoyed this game, and it was definitely worth the experience. Game number 25 is Suikoden 3. This game I had a bit of trouble playing due to the system it runs on. I got stuck on one path and just couldn't break out, and I kind of fell apart after that. Complete game is right there, and yeah, I definitely kind of prefer the first two games on PlayStation over this because the combat system's a little off, as well as just everything felt pretty off compared to the first two games. Those things felt fine, and I had a lot of trouble making ends meet with this one. Although I will need to replay it because I finished the first two games and definitely need to do the third one. Game number 26 is Suikoden 4. This one I did complete because it just felt a lot easier to handle than Suikoden 3. So I got through this one with pretty relative ease. Complete copies right there. Overall, it looks pretty good, and a lot of people have mixed opinions over this game. I personally liked it, even though it felt a little bit short on my end, but I'm still pretty happy with it, so I don't really mind. Game number 27 is Suikoden Tactics. This game actually felt a bit fun and actually puts in some of the details of Suikoden 4, but I only really beat the game and never really fully explored like I should have. There's a limited edition soundtrack right there, and the game disc itself along with the manual. Overall, I had a pretty fun time with this game, and it was pretty neat to play overall. I actually should give it a second try and actually try to explore everything though, because I went pretty linear the first time. Game number 28 is Suikoden 5. This was the last Suikoden game I needed to get in the mainline series, and because I had difficulty trying to find it, it was an online order. This makes my 19th overall in the series. This game, I only put in a good chunk of time before my PS2 crashed, and I haven't been able to come back to it since, because I was really anticipating playing this game. I heard a lot of good things about it, and my system just choked. A complete copy of this game is currently around $150 to $160, and when I got it, it was about $50 to $60. So it's definitely become pretty up there in price, but it is a really good game, and I'm really excited to actually try to play this when I finally get a PS2 that works. I definitely want to finish this game. Game number 29 is my last standard case on the PS2, and that goes to Wild Arms Alter Code F. This is an update to the original Wild Arms on PlayStation, which I never really finished, and I never actually touched this game because I bought it after my PS2 crashed. Regardless, it's a very costly game. There's the game disc and the manual, as well as the animated disc. A complete copy of this game runs around the same price as Suikoden 5, about $150 to $160, although this could push upwards to $180 in some instances if it's in really good condition. So, fortunately, I do have this game. From what I've heard, it actually is pretty neat and adds a lot of extra content, so I actually can't wait to try this game out when I finally get a system that works. I definitely would love to play this game. Game number 30 starts some big boxes with Sakura Wars So Long My Love, which is a nice big box, which looks pretty good overall, and definitely don't mind it whatsoever. Let's open it up. Okay, sweet. Here is the case itself, which has the English disc, which is disc 1, and the Japanese voiceover disc for disc 2. As you can see, there's no space. That's because, for some dumb reason, the manual is too big, so it has its own separate case. Just ridiculous. This is a very large poster featuring Gemini, and this particular thing is an art book, which looks pretty good overall. So with that, a complete copy of this generally runs around $90 to $100, and it was definitely a worthwhile experience. I completed the game twice, and would probably give it a good shot again if I had the time. Game number 31 is Artanelico Melody of Alemia. So let's go ahead and look at the outside case for a moment. There's a little bloating on the spine right there, but other than that, the rest of it looks very, very good. I don't really need to open it because, well, it's pretty easy. Alright, it's pretty simple here. Just the game case and manual right there, and right next to it is a hardcover art book, which actually looks pretty cool. Complete copy of this game as is sits at about $100, and this game is one of the few games that just completely caught me by surprise, and I fell in love with it pretty quickly. I completed the game twice and would love to do it again because it just felt so awesome, and I really enjoyed it. And my last game, number 32, goes to Artanelico 2 Melody of Metallica. This game I picked up after I got hooked on to Alemia and managed to find the limited edition version pretty quickly, with the box actually looking in really, really good shape. Let's open it up. A little different this time. Once again, got the case as is with the disc and manual. It's kind of weird that it's a like more basic case than usual in this case. The original soundtrack in its jewel case, which is pretty neat, and if I can just open it, there we are. Nice and complete and clean and all that good stuff. And also the Artanelico official art collection, which is pretty awesome. A complete copy of this game runs around $125 to $130. I can see it pushing $150 if it looks really good. And apart from a couple translation issues that just kind of fall off near the end of the game, it's a pretty good game overall, and it felt a lot more action-based than Alemia did. But it's still pretty good overall. It's just a couple translation issues, and that's about it. And that covers the PlayStation 2 collection, which means now only a single console remains in the form of my handheld PSP collection. I'm going to go ahead and get that covered tomorrow, and that will be it for the collection as of 2022. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I hope you guys will watch my PSP collection as well. And until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.